turn signals. What an amazing invention. Use them. So I was inspired by Alec of Technology Connections, this guy, to make a video about turn signals. You see, putting your structures of meat and bones and such into a metal box going high speeds is inherently dangerous. And because of that, there are devices that make it at least a little bit safer. I mean, obviously, things like seatbelts and airbags, which require the seatbelts to actually work properly. Why do you think they're called the supplemental restraint system, That help protect you in the event of a collision, but honestly, things like headlights and horns, windshield wipers, the sun visors, your gauges, of course, and of course, your turn signals help to avoid the collision in the first place. Unfortunately, one continent in particular, by the name of North America, seems to skimp on the regulations. If you're not from North America, you probably know turn signals as the amber blinky thingamajigabob. Well, in North America, okay. First off, they allow them to be red on the rear of the car, however not the front. Even worse, they allow them to share the same bulb with the brake light. Ugh. And, that did lead to a bit of a problem with our Lumina. Spoiler alert. Okay, here I am on my, on our, rather, 1998 Chevrolet Lumina. This one is following the worst North American turn signal standard. But I should probably actually get off of this thing. Yeah. Okay. I do have to get in. Okay. Yes, I do have the keys in my pocket. And so, you see, now that little band across the taillights, you might say, that separates the signals, right? Nope. No. Not even close. Nope. However, if I were to turn the turn signal on... Wait, I have to start this thing. Okay, oop, that's upside down. Put off the brake. There we go, let's turn the radio off. Here we go, brakes on. If I turn the turn signal to the left, hopefully you can hear it clicking away. Electromechanical flasher. We've now lost an entire brake light. If I turn it to the right, we've now lost the other brake light. That is all the ambiguity in existence between the two signals. Has not is. Now obviously if I turn it on first, and then the brake light, yeah, same thing happens. And for those curious as to what happens with the hazards, this. Yeah, it's incredibly stupid. Now, I can't actually see what's happening because, yeah. However, I'm pretty sure there is no override. Okay, yes. Yep. And that does appear to all be working. Now you might say, what's so bad about that? Well, what happens if one is out? Then at a glance, it looks like you have turned the turn signal on at first before you realize, oh hey, that's the brake light. And also, when you do turn the turn signal on, they don't know whether you've turned the turn signal on or whether you're down a brake light. Barring the chimsel, of course. But here's the thing. The chimsel is not something that should be relied on. To car manufacturers still using this design, I have one thing to say to you. Stop it. Just stop it. There you go. You saw the Lumina with its turn signals and brake lights in action. It is one of those where the turn signal is integrated right into the brake light. And in case the brake light going just away when the car was off didn't tip you off as to how it works, there's a disconnect switch in the multifunction control lever that disconnects the brake lights from those, and yeah, the turn signals now connect to it. But honestly, the hazards overriding the brake lights, just why? And what's more, that goes to show you that there is not just one disconnect switch for them, but two. And then, of course, there's a third switch in the brake system itself. That's 3 switches. Oh, I did get a bit second guessing that it did actually have 2 switches, but you see, this is the multifunction control lever, and that is the turn signal, hazard warning flasher controls. Nowhere near the multifunction control lever. Well, okay, sort of near, but really not. And the cruise controls on it, also the wiper controls, where they belong. Wiper controls, not the cruise control, okay? Ugh. And there's a little wire down there. I believe that would be for the cruise control, though. And the wipers. That is 3 switches that can fail. One of which did. Yeah, it's a sort of funny story. So one day, I noticed that the brake lights were not coming on. Only the CHMSL was coming on, or Center High Mounted Stoplight, CHMSL. But the car was off, so... Okay, once the car was started, this was before it had fully broken. It fixed itself, and they started working. Until it broke again. And they did not work again after that. Oh, in case you're wondering, yes, the CHMSL is legally required around here. Now, is it safe or legal to drive a car like that? No! In fact, Dad did about get rear-ended because the brake lights were out of action. Which is a problem. Now, they have since been fixed, but honestly, if they had just separated the turn signals from the brake lights, that wouldn't have even happened. Now, speaking of separation, and yes, there is such a thing as separate red turn signals here. In fact, our town and country has them. That's a Minivan. Well, here I am in front of sitting on this little ledge on our 2002 Chrysler Town and Country. Speaking of which, I do kind of wonder what this ledge is for, because pretty sure it's not meant to be a seat. Yeah, I do kind of wonder. Rust. But, yeah, one thing you might have noticed, the taillight modules are completely red. Now, if you recognize the taillight modules and were like, but wait, don't those share a bulb? No. No, they do not. That was post mid-cycle facelift. This is pre. Anyways, I do just need to get in. Yeah, okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, that did not sound good. And by the way, no, I cannot turn this on. I cannot turn the turn signals on. I can do the hazards, but not the turn signals. Even if I just... Wait, what? That works? Okay then. Weird. However, I would rather run it because this is an older car. Okay. And yeah. Now, if I put my brakes on, you can see, yes, there is ambiguity between those 2 signals. They don't share a bulb, but yes, there is ambiguity between the 2 signals. They are both red. Oh, and yeah. Now, hazards once again. I can turn them on. The lights are separate. And yes, you do notice that, yes, once again, there is a third brake light. They are required in North America. But yes, this isn't a great design. But what if I told you there is a design that is even worse? There it is. There's lock position. Hi, Editor Casfady Stamps here. Yeah, I kind of reversed the order of the videos of the cars. That's actually the order I filmed it in, but I was planning on putting them in the video in reverse order. However, that didn't end up happening, as you can see. Now, after that experience with the Lumina, I will have to say that is a huge amount better, which, honestly, that's just saying how bad integrating the turn signals into the brake lights is, because there's still plenty of ambiguity there. They're the same color after all. However, there are some vehicles these days which have amber turn signals that use the same illumination chamber as the brake light, and those do override the brake light. I would take one like our Town & Country has over that, because it is still basically integrated into the brake light. And I don't trust those disconnect switches not to fail. However, obviously it's best for them to have turn signals like our Acura 3.2 TL has. It's actually a Canadian car. However, it's not because it's Canadian that it has turn signals like that. They allow the same bad turn signal designs in Canada as they do here. However, the good news is that means that the US model also has the ambers. Unfortunately, not in the model year after, but they are separate. Here I am in front of our 2001 Acura 3.2 TL. This is following European taillight standards. I mean international. This is amber. This is the turn signal. These are the brake lights. I do appreciate the redundancy it has. It's not required anywhere in the world, whether it be North America or internationally, but I do appreciate it. And this is especially good. There is no ambiguity between these two signals. None at all. So, if you are so inclined as to see it, well, your wish will be granted. One thing I will say is, no, I cannot, I do have to start the car in order to be able to use the turn signals. Not the hazards, but I do need to do it in order to use the turn signals. Although, yeah, this is a sedan. I will also show you a minivan, and then another sedan. I did film them in reverse order, by the way. And by the way, for the more British among you, just, come on, a large MPV, that's a terrible name. Call it a minivan, for crying out loud. Anyways. And now I can just turn the car on, except it beeps, so no. There we go. Oh. And then it lets me do the brake thingy. But yeah, if I put the turn signals on, as you can see, it now has a separate flasher that is amber rather than red. If I turn the turn signals the other way, now the right one is flashing. And then, okay, hazards are once again separate, which means that as long as it's legal to drive with your hazards on, you can drive with your hazards on. Now, I don't approve of making it illegal to drive with your hazards on. Illinois, as well as any other state that does that. Yeah, just as long as the turn signals are separate, come on. Oh, and Yes, you might say, but then you can't signal your turn. Dude. Okay, watch this. I have the hazards on, I have the turn signal on, and now I have the hazards off. It's that simple. And then I'll show you, for good measure, the turn signals before the brake lights. Right one. And there you go. You get your wish. Okay. Where, how, who, what, when, where, why. There we go. The steering wheel is now locked. So there you have it. Those are the bad North American turn signals. Which is a problem for manufacturers that are continuing to do this thing for the North American market. I have 2 words for you. Stop it. Just stop. Another thing I completely forgot to mention is that having the hazard warning flashers override the brake lights on cars like the Lumina also, of course, means that you're down to just the chimsel, which is dangerous. And of course, unlike having the turn signals override the hazard warning flashers, having the brakes override them would be easy to mechanically implement. Just don't put a disconnect switch in the hazard warning flasher switch. Simple! Oh, and of course, we also have a bigger problem on our hands. Come on, guys, use your turn signals. Just use your turn signals, please. Remember what I said at the beginning of the video? Hold on, let's flash back to it. Turn signals. What an amazing invention. Use them. It doesn't matter. Even if your turn signals are like the Lumina has, it's still better if you use them. Reasons for said betterness should be obvious. Oh, and of course, one thing I also didn't mention, if one of the turn signals burns out, to other cars it looks like a turn signal for half a second, unless they actually see the chimsel, which don't expect them to. And of course, even having them separate, but red, it'll still take half a second to realize that, oh hey, it's flashing, or oh hey, it's not flashing, even with all 3 of them working. And another thing, automatic headlamp control. On cars with daytime running lights, can we make this standard? I have definitely seen cars that do not have their headlights on at night because the driver confuses the DRLs for the headlights, daytime running lights, which just means that their tail lights are not on, which means the cars behind them can't see them. Our 1998 Chevy Lumina has that feature. Yeah, that right there is the control for the manual headlights. Then that right there, pretty sure that would actually be the sensor for the automatic headlamp control. Yeah, it has automatic headlamp control. But you might be saying, why should we rely on trust? And to that, I would say, you're right. Just so that you don't have to rely on trust, here you go. Here it is. Exterior lamps, automatic headlamp control. On top of the instrument panel, makes the GRL work, so be sure it isn't covered. And here we go, the next page. When it's dark enough outside, your DRL will turn off and your low beam headlamps will turn on. There we go. Ta-da! Turn on the regular headlamp system when you need it. In other words, don't just trust that it works. Use the switch anyway, it's there for idiots. Yeah. I don't know why so many cars today don't and have DRLs. Especially, okay, our Lumina has analog gauges that are only lit up when the headlights are on. So, if your headlights aren't on, you will know. Whereas cars these days often have either digital gauges or analog gauges that are always lit up. Not good. And another thing, our 2001 Acura 3.2 TL has this thing where if a brake light burns out, it'll tell you on your instrument panel. I believe it's with the fuel and engine temperature gauges. Now, if we just press on the... Wait. We do need to turn this... Hold on, no. We need to turn this to on. And, yeah. If we just press on the brake... Ooh. What is that? Brake lamp? Yeah. This thing can tell if a brake lamp's burnt out, which I have simulated by removing a bulb. And also that light stays on. Yeah, it's actively monitoring the current, going through the brake system, and telling you if one's burnt out or not. Also ignore the ambient explosions. It is the 3rd of July. Okay, I'm going to interject here again. Yes, I know. Scary eyes. It's for my light, okay? Yes, I know. I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. And yes, the DRL light does mean that they are not working. Okay, first one. I never even started the engine, let alone shifted it out of park. I think I was fine. In fact, whenever I do drive or ride as a passenger, I am very much in the habit of fastening my seatbelt. Also, I do not live in Canada. It is perfectly fine to not have DRLs, although I really do want them fixed. The turn signals, on the other hand... Whoops. Oh yeah, by the way, you can actually just turn this on. On the Town and Country, I had originally tried to do it, and it was... Well, and I had set it to off from lock. But the turn signals, on the other hand, do not have an indicator lamp, but they also don't need one. Because this car has an electromechanical flasher, old school relay logic. Happy accident. As you can see, the left turn signal is flashing rapidly because I, once again, simulated a bulb failure by removing the bulb. That's the turn signal bulb. You can tell because it does not have a double filament, as it is only used for the turn signals, not the running lights, because this thing has amber turn signals, remember? And like I said, it's not intended, it's a happy accident. There you go. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I've got time for. I really do hope you've enjoyed. If you did, then please do hit the like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But anyway, this has been Casady Stamps. Cheers for watching, and I will see you all later. Bye. I have a bit of a funny story actually relating to this video. On the day that I was recording the talking head or full frame face cam, the Lumina actually died. We now have a Traverse 2010. Unfortunately uses the same bad turn signal design as the Lumina, or more generally tail light design. However, if I were buying it, I would not have purchased one with that design. And after what happened with the Lumina, I really don't understand why they kept it. But here is a picture of it. Bing! As you can see, one light for both the brake light and turn signal. It does have a backup cam as well, yes. Unfortunately, it has an electronic latch in the liftgate and no keyhole. Bad.